I'm Nicole. I recently joined the .NET Foundation in a community manager capacity. I'm excited to get started in the role by bringing you the interviews for the board candidates. Hi there, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Rob Prouse. I'm a Microsoft MVP. I also lead the NUnit open source project. I contribute to numerous other open source projects. I also run a local Coder Camp mini conference every month for local developers. It pulls together both .NET developers and developers from the rest of the development community. I also teach locally to school children and underprivileged children coding, trying to allow them to be consumers or be producers of technology rather than consumers of technology.
Great. So this almost goes into the first question. So what excites you about the future of the .NET ecosystem?
Well, I love .NET, and today I was looking at the top languages that were just released, and .NET is the one language that you can use on every platform and every device. You know, I can program for the web, I can program for mobile, I can program for Linux, for Mac, for Windows, for embedded. I can do anything with my skills for .NET, and that really, really excites me about the future of both my career and of .NET. So,
what role do you think the .NET Foundation can play to inspire more confidence in .NET?
Well, I think what the .NET Foundation really needs to concentrate on is ensuring the long-term viability of the open source projects that it supports. Maintainers come and go, but these open source projects are used by many companies around the world, and they're very important parts of these companies. And so by providing the services that the foundation does, it can ensure that those projects can easily pass from hands to hands as new maintainers are found for those projects, and those projects can continue on. The NUnit is an excellent example. The ownership of that project has passed through several people down to me. It's been going on for nearly a couple decades now, and so that's pretty exciting. And so the .NET Foundation can do the same thing for all these other open source projects.
Speaking of open source projects, how can the .NET Foundation help open source projects be more successful and gain credibility?
Yeah, I think it's really hard for open source projects to, maintain their momentum and their communities long term. And so by providing the hosting and the tools and the legal advice and help building and maintaining their communities, it can ensure the viability of those projects. And by ensuring that those projects are going to be here next year and in the decades to come, will help to inspire confidence in the projects.
What can the .NET Foundation do around education and adoption of .NET?
Well, that's a really good question. I think, up to now, the .NET Foundation has been doing a good job of providing educational materials and presentations and a speaker directory, but it's been really targeted towards the .NET community, and in a lot of ways, that's really singing to the, or preaching to the choir there. I think we need to reach outside of the .NET developer community and start hooking up the great speakers that we have and the great presentations that we have with other developer meetups and user groups. I also think that we need to start providing educational materials for courses and educators, for boot camps, so that we can start educating the new developers coming into the industries in .NET rather than in the other languages that they're currently starting with.
Great. What are some things you would do right away if you joined the .NET board?
Oh, the first thing I would do is I would reach out to all my fellow MVPs. I would encourage them to join the speaker directory, to get their names out there and make themselves available to the world to start talking about .NET. I would encourage them to donate more of their presentations to the small number of presentations that we've currently gathered. And I would also look at the onboard. I think we really need to look at the onboarding documentation for new OSS projects. Even from my experience onboarding NUnit to the .NET Foundation, I wasn't really aware of all of the different services that were available and all the help that was available to me because the documentation's just not there. You know, I had to reach out to Claire repeatedly and other people in the foundation. So I think we could do a lot better job of documenting that onboarding process and the various tools that are available for open source maintainers.
Great. How can people find you on socials?
I am R Prouse, RPROUSE, everywhere. So on Twitter, on GitHub, anywhere you look, I'll be R Prouse.
Okay. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much, Nicole. It was a pleasure to speak to you today.